Hey, it's me, Curtis P. Big day today for Apple as the company held their creative event in New York City. At the event, they announced brand new iPad Pros, a new MacBook Air, and a new Mac Mini. So let's run over each individual item and talk about all of the big changes coming their way. So starting off, let's talk about the Mac because that's where Apple started today, and they started with the brand new MacBook Air. On the outside, you'll notice it looks very similar to the old generation here, but it does pack the brand new Retina display, which is important here. It also has the USB-C ports. It has two of them on the side, those also being Thunderbolt 3 compatible. The keyboard now has the third generation butterfly keys on it. It's also backlit, and it has Touch ID built right into the keyboard, though it doesn't have the touch bar. The trackpad on the bottom is bigger, as you can see, reminiscent of the MacBook Pros, and on the inside it'll sport an i5 processor and up to 16 gigs of RAM. If you want to pick up one for yourself, they're available for pre-order right now, starting at $1,199 US, so definitely not as cheap as it used to be, but hey, it is still an upgrade. So let's talk a little bit about the brand new MacBook Air here. Overall, I think it's a pretty good upgrade from Apple here. Lots of people love the MacBook Air. I'm interested to see kind of what Apple's doing with their Mac naming convention though, because they have the MacBook, which is 12 inches in size. It's also, I think, more expensive than MacBook Air, so smaller computer, but it's worth more. And then they have the MacBook Air now, which is like still their cheapest laptop, but it's more expensive. And then they have, of course, the MacBook Pro. So their lineup is still kind of weird. But for the people who really enjoyed the MacBook Air, here you go. You get an upgraded device if you want to pick one up. Next up, an interesting spec boost here for the Mac Mini. The brand new device looks very similar to the old model here, but it is 5 times faster than the previous versions. Inside, you can get a 4 or 6 core processor, 32 gigs of RAM, or you can upgrade that to 64 gigs. Has an SSD storage on the inside, the T2 security chip, and you can even upgrade it with 10 gigabit Ethernet if you want. On the back of the computer here, there are 4 USB-C or Thunderbolt connectors, 2 USB-As, and 1 HDMI. And the price tag for this is $799 US, so it's not too bad. It's a little expensive, but again, there's some pretty good upgrades on the inside of this Mac Mini. Hopefully it'll be enough to keep it running for the next couple of years until Apple upgrades it again. And last but certainly not least, let's talk about those brand new iPad Pros. This year we're seeing a whole new design for the iPad Pros. Not only do they get the edge-to-edge display and Face ID, but we're also seeing a brand new design sort of on the sides and the back. The sides of the iPad Pro are now flat, along with the back of the device, except for that little camera bump, but the flat sides sort of have a key feature built into them, the fact that they work alongside the Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil will now magnetically attach to the sides of the iPad, and this is how the new Apple Pencil will actually charge using induction charging. The smaller iPad Pro will have a screen bump up to 11 inches in size, but the 12.9 will keep its same screen size, but overall the body will get a little bit smaller. Now to go along with this, of course, we did lose the home button here, so we get the gestures from the iPhone. We get, of course, swipe up to go home. We can swipe up and hold to get into multitasking, and of course, swipe left and right to move between applications. But one of the biggest changes on the bottom of the iPad is the fact that Lightning is out, USB-C is in. This is a pretty big change for Apple. They are moving the iPad from a mobile device into a desktop class device because previously only their laptops have had USB-C. So now the iPad also joins the club, which is a pretty big move for Apple. Now to go along with this, of course, like I said, there's a brand new Apple Pencil, which is really nice. It has a new flat edge on it and again, magnetically attaches to the side of the iPad. But a big thing here is it has some like touch abilities on it. So if you double tap, it kind of switches between input devices, but depending upon the app you're actually using. And there's a brand new smart keyboard, which actually sort of magnetically attaches to the back of the iPad and then sort of flips around. So it's an interesting new design. It doesn't attach to the sides like the old version. And the smart connector is actually on the back of the device. We saw this in rumors leading up to this, but it seemed like a weird placement, but it makes a lot of sense now. And one other big change here is the iPad now has an increased storage capacity up to 1 terabyte on the inside. So you can get storage of 64, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. And for a starting price, the 11-inch iPad starts at $799 US, and of course the 12.9 is at $999. Again, that is for the cheapest 64 gig model, no LTE or anything. So yeah, you're probably gonna bump that up. I personally ordered a 256 12.9 because I feel like that's just gonna be the perfect size for me. I currently have the 128 gig 12.9 inch from a couple of years ago, and I think that's great for storage size, but 64 is just a little too small for me, and I have no idea what I would do with 1 terabyte. Like, what am I storing on this thing? But hey, there is a possibility that in the future that 1 terabyte will come in very handy. So if you want to spend the money, you definitely can. My thoughts on this product, it looks pretty good. This is the iPad kind of for the next generation, right? Like it's an edge-to-edge design. It really is just like a screen that you touch. Like it is a touch screen computer, right? There's literally nothing else on it. There's some volume controls. That's basically it. Once you put a keyboard on it, of course, now it turns into more like a little laptop, but if you're someone who wants to sketch and stuff, Apple Pencil, it's gonna be a great addition. For myself, I got the keyboard and I got the Apple Pencil because that's what I currently use on my current iPad Pro. I love it, the combination, it's just amazing. Ever since I got it, like my laptop has been like second-class citizen. If I'm gonna just like sit and do like some light work, or I'm gonna be on my couch just sort of sitting and surfing and whatever, it's the iPad Pro. It's not the phone, phone's too small. Laptop, it's too big, it's too bulky, it gets too hot. I just wanna use something simple and small. Also, the Apple Pencil is amazing. I love drawing and stuff. I have an app that connects it to my iMac so I can use like Photoshop and stuff, but yeah, it's great. And Photoshop is coming to the iPad in the near future, which is amazing. I cannot wait for that. So yeah, it's awesome. There's tons of great things going on with the iPad Pro. So overall, that is a rundown of all of the things Apple announced at this big event. There's tons of cool stuff. There were some other things to go along with the Apple Store and stuff like that, but I'm not going to talk about that because the 3 main things, those are what I wanted to talk about. Those are what I'm most excited about. I think a lot of people are going to get the new MacBook Airs. That's sort of a great working device for people who don't need a MacBook Pro, but they still want something with a bigger display. Definitely a great product. The Mac Mini, that's gonna be awesome for people who want the Mac Mini. That's kind of it's a weird device, but people who really like the Mac Mini have been wanting a new upgraded Mac Mini for a long time. So I'm glad they actually released something for them. And then people who are interested in the iPad Pro, brand new device, like the best in-class device for them. So yeah, lots of great announcements at this event. So let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of all the announcements Apple had at today's event. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe to the channel. I'm releasing new videos like this throughout the week, so yeah, make sure you subscribe. And until next time, everybody, I'm Curtis Paradis. Hope you have yourself a great day, and I can't wait to see you back here sometime in the future.